let's check out this video from at Dark Moon Rocks. That's their channel is Dark Moon Rocks. Shout out, I'll leave a link in the description. Can you beat Skyrim as a vampire lord? I don't know, can you? I tried. It's not easy. The debuffs are intense. Let's see what we got here.
Hi there, welcome back to Weaves of Waves. I'm waiting for my washing to be done, so I thought I'd give a brief thing what I've been learning. You see, I'm a psychic vampire, okay? Most of you know.
A lot of people that call themselves psychic vampire, it's lost all meaning for me, right? Which is why I'll say astral vampire because it's very specific, but also I'll just say disconnected, right? Because a lot of people will even say they're astral vampires or vampire. Some of them are just sympathetic practitioners that are still connected to source. Or again, there are people that call themselves psychic vampires that are spiritually wounded, right? And then there are people that are addicted to it. And because of this confused lumping, people call us disconnected, either addicted, ambitious, or whatever. So let's get to see what kind of psychic vampire she is. I'm wondering, is she disconnected? Well, well met, sister. Your energy is deliciously predatory. I love this woman already.
It's like I used to feed off energy, and I need to feed off energy. And when I started to look around, I realized that everybody else was feeding off energy too. So I don't feel that...
Well, they're feeding off the environment, right? And let's just see where this is going.
I'm the only psychic vampire. I'm just an aware one, which makes it most... it's like a sort...
Is this to insinuate that prime normals are vampire that are just not self-aware? I don't know how I'd feel about that assessment. Tisk. You know, let's just let her cook.
It's, in other words, it can be used to heal or harm. And I found that I could you can feed like a teenager, which is just cause chaos and feed off the chaos. But
yeah, how does that work? I've never, okay, there is something that could be interpreted as me feeding on emotional energy. I did this once, right? And to me, it seems spiritual. It seemed more as above, so below, where I fed on a Desert Storm veteran, right? And he had a lot of negative energy, right? And I didn't view that as emotion, right? But it was negative energy, right? Because, how do I put this? It was probably negative energy caused by emotion, right? But negative energy, astral energy, right? Corrupted life force, I think, can affect your emotions. And I fed on this negative energy. And yes, it tasted like fear, right? And it kind of got me high. But I wasn't feeding on their fear, if that makes sense. Like, if you've ever, for instance, like me, I remember I shot a lamb in the head and I drank its blood, right? And because it was afraid, and that wasn't really the goal, I wanted the poor thing to calm down. I didn't want it to be afraid. I like humanely slaughtering animals, but it was afraid, right? And because it was afraid, released a lot of cortisol and, all of that, just became straight up concentrated adrenochrome. And technically, adrenochrome is not fear. The animal was just stressed and afraid. And as a result, it physically altered the substance of its blood, right? But, you can't just drain that fear from that lamb. If you, took a syringe and took some of its stressed out blood, that was because it was afraid, if anything, it's just going to make it more afraid, right? If that makes sense. So but also spiritually, I did what I'm saying you can't do, right? Where I fed on this negative energy, this negative blood, and it made his PTSD nightmares go away for a night. So I suppose that's like saying if I took the lamb's blood and removed all the adrenaline and cortisol and it calmed down, right? So is this what people are referring to by emotional vampirism, right? Or are they referring to literally feeding on emotion, right? Because, yeah, if there's a crowd and people are whatever, then their energy can taste different, right? But I don't know. It's like I like feeding on people that are healthy and happy, but not because I'm feeding on their happiness. You feel me? Right? Because when they're relaxed, when they're doing good, their energy is healthy, right? I could say, oh, they taste so happy, but it's not like you literally taste happiness. It's like if you have an animal that's from industrial farm slaughter, right? And you eat its meat, like from Walmart, right? The meat, whether it's raw or cooked, taste tense. Like the adrenaline ruined the meat, right? What benefit it gives to blood, it does not have in the meat, right? All the antibiotics, all the stress, all that, it ruins the quality of the meat and becomes rubbery, right? Whereas if you eat like Japanese Wagyu, right? They massage the cows, feed them beer, and as a result, the meat is marbly and soft, right? In my experience, that Desert Storm veteran, I didn't really continue that session. It was just to see if I could, but I never explored that part of my vampirism because it wasn't the thing I do, right? But, if I feed on someone's energy, it's the same as, and I want them to be happy and healthy. It's the same thing if I'm eating Wagyu. I can't taste the happiness in the meat, but I know what meat tastes like that comes from a happy animal, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm going with semantics here, but if this is what they really mean, then I guess, yeah, I could see how that works, right? But in my experience, emotions don't increase the energy, if that makes sense, right? If I piss off a crowd of people, their spiritual energy, their life force, their chi, prana, vital energy is going to be the same amount, right? Just because you stress someone out, after, like, let's say you take a pint of blood from a human being physically, right? And then you stress them out and troll the shit out of them, right? You rage bait them. Does an entire pint of blood regenerate in their body? Does that make sense? So, unless there's a method I don't know about where you piss off a crowd, and because they're pissed, their chakras activate and speed up and start absorbing more and more elemental energy, producing more whatever. But I never understood that. Regardless of what someone's emotional state is, it always seems like they produce the same amount of life force, right? So I don't understand this aspect, right? What she is saying is completely alien to me, but I want to understand because people talk about it. Doesn't make much sense to me, though. But I want to know, so we'll let her continue.
You can also feed like a healer and feed off the grief and the pain and the suffering that goes around you.
Yeah, I didn't really feed on the guy's PTSD. I fed on negative energy that I think might have triggered his PTSD. But I didn't, like, remove it from his brain. Like, can you remove emotion? How does that work? I don't understand how that works.
You feed with respect and you feed with, it's kind of like a divine honor. it is your honor to serve. And that's how I went with the psychic vampire stuff. Now, you feed off thunderstorms, you feed off...
Okay, wait. She's saying you feed off of. She's not saying she does. So, right? Because I could look to see if she's connected or disconnected, but I want to guess, right? I want to, like, based on the information and what I know, I want to, like, off of that just see where she is. She's saying, like, you as in you guys feed on, right? So until she says I also do that, then so if she says I do that, then that would make her sympathetic. So we'll see.
Food, you feed off emotion, you feed off hugs,
How do you feed off of hugs? How? I love this woman. She seems great. How the fuck do you feed on hugs? I mean, touch is great. When you touch someone, it makes it easier to absorb their vital energy if you're kind of, like, not sophisticated. Like, I prefer to do it because, yeah, there is an intensity to it. I will say touching someone is an intensity, but I'm not feeding off the hugs. It's just a grappling point. At this point, my main methods are just tendril feeding and going in the astral and hunting. But this is interesting. Let her cook. I'm sorry.
All of us do it. So when I say I'm a psychic vampire, I'm saying we are all psychic vampires, all right? So...
Can't agree with that. Unless we're just making the term as vague as possible, then sure. If we're including elemental vampires or prime normals, sure. I really came up with the term elemental vampire. Not came up, but used the term to make prime normals feel more included. Because they vampirize off the earth. But anyways.
There's a negative connotation. Right. Now, one of the things that people have questioned, I have questioned, is how do you defend yourself against a psychic vampire?
Ooh, this is exciting.
And you know what? I was like, I don't know. If you put a shield out, I can feed off that shield. That shield tells me how tasty you are.
Yes. Oh, yes. This woman knows what she's talking about. I've had people that I let them know. I was like, hey, I'm an astral vampire. And they're like, I'm putting up a shield. And they looked at me and I'm like, because I reached my hand out. They were experienced in Reiki and devoted a lot of time. And I could taste their chakras through their shield. Their shield is made out of life force. I just reached my hand out and I absorbed their shield. I said, I don't want to feed on you against your will. I don't want to go against your consent. But because you had to put a fucking shield up, now I feel a little rage baited to feed on you. And let me tell you, that shield, yeah, your energy is very good, right? So do you want to keep pissing me off?
What flavors you are, basically.
Yes.
So, white light shields, bollocks. I can feed off that too. So, okay, that doesn't work. Okay, so if you put up an energy barrier and I'm feeding off energy, then that barrier is worthless, right?
Yeah, what you do, right, depending, right, is if you're defending yourself, what do most of us avoid? We avoid the void. Commune with the dark goddess. Call upon the Theotokos. Call upon Kalima. Call upon Dia Diana. Call upon Tiamat. Call upon maybe the Morrigan. That's more for someone else. I don't have enough experience to say whether or not she's an incarnation of the void. And someone says Hecate. I feel like that's true, but I don't know. But anyways, call upon anything that's of the void, a manifestation of the opposite of source. And you can open up a portal, right? And the simple method is like opening up a portal and using the shield, right? The shield that I can feed on, right? Shield yourself away from the portal, right? Do whatever you can to create a shield of the portal or around you as the portals in front of you, like a gateway, a door attached to your chest or wherever this is. And it is like that scene from Alien Resurrection where the alien is just slammed against the wall and sucked through that little hole. It could be a little hole, right? When you open the void, my fucking acidic vampiric blood boils and my teeth start to physically hurt, and I'm out of there, right? I'm like, nope, goodbye, no. I probably shouldn't have shared that, but whatever, I like, sure, maybe I shouldn't post this video. That I just kind of gave away one of our things, but yeah. Also, there's another thing you can. I don't know how it works, but you can cover yourself in the void, like a black silhouette, and be essentially a humanoid black hole into the void of Gagunda Gap outside of Yggdrasil, where it's sucking energy from all directions, under your feet, in front of you, in the back. It's like a hole that is, yeah, it's like I don't even know how to put it, right? There's no way to conceptualize it. And I can do that with a shield around me, and it scares me because I know it's not going to hurt me, but I don't want to be that close to the void, right? And if I wear like a black morph suit, right, that is a hole in existence, even if I'm safe in the morph suit, the idea that someone would just fall into me and then in the void it would just look like a white silhouette cardboard cutout entering the real, it's so fucking weird. But that's another thing. And also, at least for my kind, get energy from the earth, the water, the wind, even fire, and imbue yourself with it. Have your spiritual bones turn to rock. Have your chakras covered with sand. I hate sand. It's coarse and gets everywhere. But make yourself smell like a tree, right? Automatically we're gonna say, ugh. You'll smell like lead. You'll smell impure. And if we try feeding on you, right, and we know it's bullshit, yeah, we could still feed on you. But if you infuse yourself with the energy of the earth, we can't feed on you because your energy has become tainted with elemental impurity. That's not a problem for you. It's a problem for us, right? If you're so worried about our kind feeding on you, just, infuse yourself with impure, filthy, inferior elements. With regular natural elements. And all right. Now, if she's a sympathetic vampire, that doesn't work, right? Because that means she's like you guys, but predatory. She's a prime normal that feeds on other prime normals. And in that case, right, against anyone that's a sympathetic vampire, like they can just feed on earth energy, right? So no matter what you do, unless you're opening a portal to the void, so at least for my kind, the elemental thing works too. And it's a great way to camouflage you because I can do a remote viewing where as soon as I sniff out someone's energy, I can physically track them down. Like I can follow a trail of their life force and locate them. But I can't remote view someone if like you're in some random area near my proximity and you have absorbed the energy of the concrete. Then when I remote view you, all I see is an empty sidewalk, if that makes sense. So yeah.
How do you actually defend yourself? Now, there's ways of going Nova where you explode all your chakras and you just push everything that isn't yours away. Or you just leave the situation. So in other words, if somebody's feeding off you, you just walk away. But my comment to that would be that you are leaving someone else to be fed off. That person is hungry. You either feed them or you tell them to shut the fuck up and go and sit under a tree for a while. Okay?
Yes, no objections here.
So take responsibility if you are aware of you being fed off. Right. Okay. Now, I am looking into ways where you can defend yourself and how to bring energy in and consume it. Now, it will become an energy battle. So in other words, if somebody's feeding off you, you drag their energy in. And you drag it in to the belly, which is your cauldron, and you can feed better and finer than ever before. And you can also feed off, when people are just throwing up with emotion. So all your empaths up there, I think the word empath and the word psychic vampire are probably blurred around the edges. They blur into one.
No, lady. No, you went from nice lady to scary lady. Don't do that. Please. God damn, don't do that.
I think most empaths need to feed. A lot of them get wiped out because they're not feeding strong enough. They're not feeding enough.
They feed by being abused. They feed by healing horrible people, so horrible people can go on to hurt innocent people. And then they don't help those innocent people. They go on to hurt more, or they go on to heal more bad people to hurt innocent people. But because there's so many innocent people around that are hurt, because they help the people that hurt those innocent people, the empath feels vindicated in their existence. Like, there's so much pain. Clearly, there's a reason for me to be here. No, you are the reason why people are in pain, because you just couldn't let the bad man die. You had to lick his wounds, even when he spat on you, or she, whatever, So, yeah, and plus empaths, they just feed on elemental energy, right? Regular empaths. Yes, all vampire, for the most part, can selectively use empathic abilities, but we're not empaths. Don't insult me with that level of inferiority.
Go and sit out under a tree. If you have an emotional thing that's going on, somebody's attacking you emotionally or unconsciously attacking you emotionally, you go sit out under a tree and regain your equilibrium. So that's kind of what we do as an empath and kind of what we do as a psychic vampire. So I'm not going to... the terminology here blurs into one. I'm talking about somebody who feeds off energy or somebody who reads off energy. I'm not sure there's much of a difference. But if you take in someone's energy to your belly, to your cauldron, and transmute it, right? Now, there is a way as a breath. I think it would defend you against a psychic vampire, and I not only think it would defend you against all your own negative thoughts. Your negative thoughts are entities. They go off, they get bigger and stronger, and they come back and they start hitting you. Those are your negative thoughts. This world is surrounded by people's negative thoughts.
Yes.
That's one. There's another thing out there that I'm learning about. It makes me sound like a crack-potted old woman.
So as far as taking the enemy's energy into themselves, honestly, if an empath or prime normal decided that I was attacking them, which I wouldn't be, right? Most of us wouldn't be, but they usually just come to the conclusion that we're attacking them, even if we are attacking them. If someone, their defense is to take my spiritual blood and put it in their body, yes, I won't even resist. No, I'll help them. I will get my spiritual blood, my vampiric blood, and have it go inside their body. Because when they start to feel good, when they're judging us and saying we're evil monsters, and they quote unquote defend themselves from, and they absorb my energy into them, and their chakras start vibrating, and they feel stronger, smarter, sharper. They start to look better. They're just better in every way. And then they're like, I smite thee, vampire. And I'm like, which one? Because you just became a sympathetic vampire. You became like me. Welcome to the club. You're no longer an enemy. I'm no longer your enemy. We're in the same boat, brother, sister. I love that. If someone wants to defend themselves from what I am by becoming what I am, I don't care how much of an inconvenience it is. Let my blood flow through you. Let my life force flow through you. Yeah. Because when you use, then you'll see from my perspective. And then you'll realize how much of a fucking douchebag you were. And then you'll want to be like me. Oh my God, yes. Feed on me. Oh my God, yes. Or they talk about how we just want to take other people's energy. No, fucking slice my wrist and drink from them. If it were only so easy, right? No, I would be like, that would be great. If the empath or the regular prime normal, if their first response was, oh, this guy, Atlantean vampire, I think he's feeding on my energy. Not if I feed on him first. Yes. Oh my fucking God. Yes. Yes. Anyways.
There we go. I am learning about it. So empaths, you don't shield. Don't bother with shields. Don't bother learning all that crap about shieldings. It ain't going to work, right? You learn to take in energy. You learn to breathe. You breathe it in. And as you do...
Oh, I love this woman, right? Because, you know, an empath or prime normal isn't even going to think about the irony of this. They're going to be like, that seems good, right? They're feeding on me, and feeding on people is evil. So I'm going to feed on them.
It's called reverse breathing. So you're extending your... So instead of, breathe it in, you extend your belly, you extend your gut. And you're actually breathing it in. And then you're bringing up your perineum to block it. You want to hold it in your belly. So you're holding...
Yes, you want to absorb my vampiric energy. You want to feed on my life. Do it. Just do it. Oh my God, yes. Brother, sister. Now, feeding on me won't turn you into what I am, but oh, you'll no longer be a piece of shit. Oh, oh, you'll be sympathetic. Oh, you'll have nothing but sympathy for me. Oh, I love this woman.
In both sides. So you hold it into your belly and you say, I change it. I take the waveform. I don't care what the thought is, I'm taking the waveform. Now this basic exercise is tough for a psychic vampire to start latching onto you. You almost armor up, and I'm not sure how you armor up, but there is an armoring going on.
Well, yeah, okay, you armor up through void magic or, again, elemental shielding. That's one. But yeah, more efficient against the sympathetic would be the void magic.
We're going to play with this more, but if you're interested, put some comments on the thread, and because I can't do this as a reel because it's too long. So put some comments on the thread if you're interested to know more. We're going to look at things to protect yourself from psychic attack. Protect yourself. The psychic attack is probably your own thought form, but if it isn't, then it's a real heavy hitter. It's like being hit in the face with a baseball bat. It really is like your own thoughts have come back to you manifold, big time. Anyway, if you want to know more, ask some questions. Take care. Love you lots. Bye now.
Time to look at her energy. Her eyes are glowing, pure white. Her spiritual fangs are pretty impressive. I'm not sure if she's aware, but I see like 4 on the upper jaw, and it's like her third eye looks like the eye of Providence. At least to me, right? I'm not sure how it looks to her, but to me, her crown chakra looks like horns, like something ancient, something, I don't know. I wonder if she's connected to love. I feel something about something Celtic going on, and her heart looks different than mine, right? It looks kind of like there's a texture on it that looks kind of slimy, shriveled, but like natural, like that's what it's supposed to be like it can unfold into something else. And her solar plexus is beautiful. Oh my god, it's burns bright like an arc light. Oof. Oof. And I'm not going to look at her sacral, I'm a gentleman. Honestly, I can't tell if she's connected or disconnected from source. That's weird. I usually can. I see like spiritual, like a scale, strong astral bone, like really strong astral bone, as if it's infused with iron, right? She is something else, and I love it. Blessings upon you, sister.